Last time on Cyberphile, we crept through the crypt of the dead gods, killed a starving god trio, and talked about what really makes gods tick in the world of Salt and Sanctuary. Hello, Saltborn, and welcome back to another episode of Salt and Sanctuary from the Depths, Cyberphile's lore-enhanced walkthrough of Salt and Sanctuary. So, I am right inside the little checkpoint sanctuary, just outside our next boss, and we're going to head there now. And I know what you might be thinking. Cyberphile, how did you go from being level 71 on the last episode to being level 90 now? Well, I had a bit of an issue. You see, I wanted to fully upgrade all of our weapons for the last couple battles, all of our weapons and armor. So, as we had before, our poleaxe is 7, and now our crossbow is 6, because we need another Drowned Tome to max it out, and I believe you only get 1 in the whole game. Maybe 2, but it might be at the very end. But at any rate, all of our armor is also now at 7. And what I wanted to do was, I wanted to get even the helmet, that really cool helmet that we're wearing right now, up to 7, even though it would put us over our equip rate back then. And I needed a King's Orders. Now, King's Orders are a really rare drop from those Crypt Keepers. So I went to Mal's Floating Castle and I thought, hey, I'll just grind out some. I'll grind a couple and we'll get our King's Orders and I'll get it fully upgraded. And then when our endurance gets high enough, I can put that helmet on and we'll be good to go. Well, each Crypt Keeper drops 5,000 salt. And by the time I got my King's Orders, I was at over 300,000 salt. So, RNG was just not with me when I was trying to grab that. But as a result, I now have a ton of endurance, and we can equip that cool-ass helmet without being over-encumbered. So there we go. So here we are to face off against Kraken Dragon Scores. Now, Scores is actually the king of all Krakens, and his special ability as King of the Kraken is he's actually the true King of Storms. So that means that he can actually summon storms on the mainland, and he does so frequently so that the other Kraken can feed. I've got that jump wrong. And so that's his deal. He's the king of the Kraken. He's about to be the king of death. Now, here's an interesting thing. Yet again, we find another Kraken in the crypt of the dead gods. Does this mean that Kraken are gods? Their king is in the crypt of the dead gods. That's gotta say something, right? It's up to you to speculate. But here, we enter the Still Palace, and we meet with the old man for the last time. It's time you knew my name. There was a time when I held many titles. Men knew me by my other names as well. Or, men knew me by other names as well. But titles, fame, infamy, it is worthless here. On this island, Jarrett is my name. Envy is such a thing. A man envy his neighbor, whose wife is very beautiful. A lord envies a king, who commands nobles. A king envies a god, to whom all men must bow. And a god envies what a god cannot have. I wanted so much from life. Satisfaction eluded me. And the things I prayed for, well, would you believe a god actually answered my prayers? These things, this life, this island, such is my reward. Fantastic power, a lifetime of servitude, and a purgatorial existence in this still place. The god of this island is the god that answered my prayers. His existence is one of insatiable lust for something a god can never have, to be born of light. He preyed on the greedy, collecting on the debts of kingdoms and countries in some mad, mad hope of collecting that thing he shall never have. Alas, we are born of salt, bound by sanctuary. We are the eternally dead. This god, this demon, I want him to remain nameless. His lust for power is fueled by terror and infamy. Men at sea can fear the Kraken, but give this vile god no name. Go on. So, Jarrett revealed to us a ton of information, and what we've been waiting for such a long time. Jarrett is in fact King Jarrett, the King of Storms, Kolchas, and he was so envious that he wished for more and more and more, and he eventually started praying to a god for more, and the only god that answered his prayers was the god of this island, the nameless god. Now, oh look at that, I didn't even need to grind because I would have found another King's Orders for my helmet. Oh well. So, Jarrett wished for things he could not have, and eventually this god answered him his prayers, and he prayed for power, and he prayed for an incredible kingdom, and what he got was this island. See, the god took his life, and now bound him to this island. So now Jarrett is cursed to roam this island, never to leave. Now, the god of this island, though, collects things in some mad hope of becoming what I think is a real god, born of light. You see, it's said that that god isn't born of light, and that's what he ultimately is seeking, to be born of light. Now, the way Jarrett talks, he talks a lot like the nameless god of this island is already a god. But it's not true. It can't be true, because the god of this island wants to become a real god, and to become a real god you have to be revered and prayed to by others, and this god doesn't appear to be as such. In fact, the only reason we know about this god is because Jarrett just told us about him, and other than that, the fact that we will have to face off with him in the final battle. Another thing that Jarrett revealed to us is that we are dead. The island that we're on now is like a limbo, and where you go when you die at sea. So now we know why all of these dead characters from all sorts of times are spread throughout the island. And that's because this island is pretty much a limbo, a place before heaven or hell, a sort of death place. So as such, this island is not a real island that you could sail to, most likely. In fact, it may exist as a bubble in the bottom of the sea, seeing as there are many rare sea-type things down here, like shimmering pearls and amber idols and things of that nature. So, and as such, this island exists in many different places at many different times, all at once. So, again, just further cementing the fact that the bottles left by other characters are in fact just messages left by yourself. And so we know the truth of Salt and Sanctuary now, that we are dead. We are the dead salt. You see, there are two salts, living and dead. Well, three if you count the stuff that you put on your french fries. Or chips, depending on where you come from. At any rate, we are the dead salt now, while people living in the real world are the living salt. So this god collects and collects in the hopes to become a real god, born of light, as we've mentioned in the past, having that candle-lit soul. And now we've gotten pretty much everything we can get before the final battle, so I want to do something a little different before we face off against the nameless god. So here we are back at Siam Lake, and I'm going to do a little thing that, well, you might not normally do in a playthrough, and it's because I want to keep my creed, but I still want to enter that hidden area and tell you all about it. So just bear with me for a moment. Alrighty, and I'm back to the first sanctuary in the game that we originally claimed as the 3. Now, in order to gain access to the hidden sanctuary, we have to desecrate a sanctuary. That means force it to turn over its hand to our new creeds. And we actually have to lose the fight against the guardians that we'll be facing in order to get the item that will get us into the hidden sanctuary. So here we have a couple tough enemies. Of course, they're no match for me. But I'll die to the second wave. On purpose, of course. There we go, just run me down. There we go, we have met our end. But then we will get... Where is it at? The Bloody Writ. And that Bloody Writ is what'll get us into that hidden sanctuary. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and kill these guys and claim it for our new creed. Let's get our salt back first. There we go. So now we have successfully expunged the sanctuary, and we can claim it for our new creed, which is the House of Splendor. And we've also got an expunged heart for doing so. Okay, so with that taken care of, we're gonna place a guide and travel to Siam Lake. And what I've done is I've backed up my save, and we'll just load up the previous save when we go to take on the final boss. So just here to the right of Siam Lake, we can find a little pit that leads downwards, and the only hint that there's anything down there is the water that's pouring down there. So just follow the water if you want to attempt to find this hidden sanctuary. You'll take a ton of fall damage on the way down, so you'll definitely have to quaff your healing potion of choice at least once. We're almost to the bottom. Maybe one more fall. There we go. And we've made it. Do you have a mark? And that's why you need to fail desecrating a sanctuary, because you need that bloody writ. A writ? Good. Then you've tried, and failed, to commit the ultimate betrayal, defiling a holy place that once cared for you. But you've failed, haven't you? And that's why you've sought our help. Beyond me lies a sanctuary to the betrayer. I will ask you this once. Do you wish to swear your blood to him? And they will ask you just once. If you hit no, you lose out on getting in here, so... I am pleased. Here is the icon of our dark creed. And here is the key to the door that lies beyond me. Revitalize our sanctuary. Spread our malice through the land. You are welcome here. So, that automatically changes your creed, as you can see there in the top left, to the Order of the Betrayer. And this is the only way to get in here. You know, not counting exploits and things of that nature. But the Betrayers follow an old god, Azradek, who was once the god of bloodletting. Now, he's known simply as the Betrayer. So let's make a couple offerings so we can get some characters in here, and you can see what they have to say. And remember, none of this is going to matter because I'm going to back up my old save, but it's important lore. Let's talk to everybody, see what they gotta say. Greetings, Tainted One. I am an acolyte of Azradek. I have yielded to the bidding of our dark god because his will is the true rule of the world. I was actually once a disciple of Fire and Sky, but that didn't continue. I came across buried knowledge in our archives. Magic without fire or sky. but such things were forbidden, and I was cast out. Through this secret order, I found a place to study this craft. Studying these dark arts, truly, that is the only thing left for me. So, there we go. We talked a little bit about blood magic. I'm going to talk to all these characters first before I elaborate. Fusing metal and magics, then. I've always been a bit of an alchemist, even if the trade comes second to my main calling. Sowing the seeds of discord, my friend. Hello, Dark Traveler. The end is so deliciously, wonderfully nigh. Everything I do is to hasten it. The goddess Devara has already damned us all, and has promised to eradicate those with unforgivable hearts in divine light. But the day of judgment will belong to her brother, Azradak, our Dark Lord of Chaos. Those who cannot be forgiven by Devara find belonging in the tainted heart of Azradak. He is made powerful by suffering, pain, and despair. So we do what we can to spread that which pleases our Dark Master. When enough blood has been shed, our Dark Lord will rise. We shall be saved when the world is plunged into chaos. We share the same goal. Shall we spread malice? I kill women and children, mostly. Anyone who won't put up a fight. So, yeah. You can see these guys aren't exactly the friendliest bunch. I mean, unless you, too, are a follower of the Order of the Betrayer, in which case they're very friendly to you. As you can see, our healing item has been replaced with blood vials, because we just drink the blood of the innocent. So, down here in the Blackest Vault is where the only sanctuary of the Betrayer lies. And down here, they worship Azradak. Now, Azradak was once part of the old Pantheon, the god of bloodletting, but now he hates his sister Devara. Maybe he always has. And his only objectives are to A, see Devara drown in blood, his words, not mine, and B, spread malice throughout the land and cause a never-ending war to the humans. So why would humans want to follow him? Well, there are a number of reasons. One, as our mage friend said, that there's a special kind of magic, the forbidden blood magic, which can only be practiced in the comfort of other followers of the Order of the Betrayer. And then there's also another reason. Some people who have committed crimes that they feel there's no forgiving of. And so they just feel like Azradak's the last place where they can turn, and where their dark ways can actually be glorified instead of condemned. So what blood magic is you actually use the blood of innocence to cast blood, and also to cast the magic, which is some of the most powerful magic that you can use in the game. Another thing that happens is that what you're doing is you're offering blood to Azradak. And you can offer blood of the innocents, and also you offer your own blood. So the caster of blood magic actually gets weaker and more frail with every magic ability cast. And it has a dark sort of overtone to it. So there are a number of characters that we've met with on our journey that seem to have a darker sort of magic. Ronan Cran, for instance, has that black aura when he charges up, and most notable is Karstral, who has those black blades of evilness that come up. Now, could it be that they were betrayers, or became betrayers? Or what became of them? Or in fact, could it simply be that the dark nature of the island has grabbed them, and now they are betrayers? Not sure. It could be either one. Now, the only way to gain devotion in the creed of the Betrayer is to desecrate other sanctuaries. So, other sanctuaries that believed in you, and here you can see the pile of corpses at the bottom of the Blackest Vault. I also think it's really interesting that many of the betrayers look like they're Tristini. They have that really pale skin and that sort of weird eyeliner thing going on. And so, it may be all the bad things that happened to them, like the Tristini witch hunt, maybe made them really want to give them something that they should actually fear. We'll show you witches. We'll show you with blood magic. And one final theory for this episode before we call it quits and I load up my old save to finish off the game, is that Azradak, the god of bloodletting, the betrayer, could it be that he is the nameless god of this island? Now I feel like this theory could go either way. On one hand, no, it couldn't be, because Azradak's already a god. The nameless god wants to be a true god, to be born of light, to have that candlelit soul. And Azradak already has that. He was a member of the old pantheon. However, maybe he betrayed the old pantheon and then was sent to this cursed island as penance. And this is where he's been exiled to. And now he's no longer a god and wishes to rise again and create calamity. Perhaps. It's a thought. But on the other hand, I feel like those two don't exactly match up. The nameless god wants to be a real god, and he needs to be revered by others, and that's where this theory falls apart, in that you can see all of these people, they are very loyal to Azradak, the god of bloodletting, the betrayer. And so, why would Azradak want to become a god again if he already is technically? He already is revered by everybody. So, what does this mean? It's up for you to speculate. I personally think that they are two separate entities with their own two separate stories, but you're welcome to believe whatever you'd like. And I'd love to hear your theories on it. Leave them in the comments below. Now, for now, I'm gonna go back up my save, and I'll see you on the very next and the very last episode of Salt and Sanctuary from the Depths, a lore-enhanced walkthrough by Cyberphile. I'll see you then. Don't miss it. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more Cyberphile content, and if you like this video, show me with that little thumbs up button. If you liked this video, you might like one of my other videos. You can click right on the boxes to jump to them. Cyberphile, offline.